How often do you find yourself delaying a task that you really want or you need to complete? And then the more time that passes, the more you regret not taking action. When this happens, you might want to attribute this to a lack of motivation, but that's not necessarily the case. If you're watching this, then it's clear that you're motivated to do it because you want to change, but something is still holding you back. So I've been listening to Steven Pressfield's book, The War of Art, and I'm not finished with it yet, but I learned something from it and I really wanted to explain it here. According to Pressfield, the root of our procrastination is something deeper called resistance. In this book, he explains that resistance is what prevents us from turning our ideas into reality, and it's what causes us to avoid doing things that are beneficial for our lives or just important to us. I've been battling a cold for like a week now, so I'm like super congested, so I apologize. So what is resistance? So resistance is something that cannot be seen, felt, or heard, but it's always there, and it takes different forms to stop you from getting things done. For you, it might take the form of the voice in your head that tells you that it's okay to watch another episode and it's already 11 p.m. and you have school tomorrow and that homework is due at 11:59. For someone else, it might take the form of perfectionism. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that want to start a YouTube channel and they don't because they don't think they have anything to offer. That is perfectionism. It's also a form of resistance. You never feel like you're good enough to do something. So for me, for a long time, I never felt like my ideas were good enough to share with people online, and it held me back for literally years. And in its absolute worst form, it takes the form of instant gratification. Yep, we're going there. These are just things like social media and video games that distract you from doing the important work. And what I mean by that is that you know that usually when you're wasting time on social media or video games or just watching YouTube shorts, you know that there's probably something more important that you could be doing or that you should be doing, but you're not doing that. If you think about it, what we're usually procrastinating from is some form of delayed gratification. If you're procrastinating going to the gym, that is a form of delayed gratification. You're not going to see results from it right away, so it's not going to instantly make you happy. But then that's when resistance comes in the form of instant gratification. So when exactly do you feel resistance? Whenever we're faced with a task that we know we have to do, we often feel a sense of resistance. And this is especially true when the task is urgent or something that we're passionate about, such as creating a YouTube video, making a sales call, or maybe designing clothing. And this resistance can also make it really hard to break bad habits like phone addiction, excessive video gaming, porn, literally anything that you can be addicted to. Resistance is going to play a role in that. And it's not that resistance is this outside force. It's more of something that's like within ourselves. And it's the book kind of gets like a little bit spiritual. So, but you don't have to think about it like spiritually. You can just think about it on like a literal sense if you want to, or just think about it inside of your mind. There's something in the back of your mind that is making you resist doing these things. But it is still you, and you still can take back control. It's important to remember that we only feel resistance towards the tasks that have the potential to change our lives for the better, not towards smaller, lesser ones. How many times did you feel resistance last time you had to do an essay? Or how many times did you feel resistance when you had to go to the gym, even though you didn't feel like it? Versus how often do you feel resistance when you want to watch the next episode on Netflix? You don't even have to actually click a button anymore. It'll just automatically play the next episode. So there's zero resistance there. It's not even just those instant gratification activities. It's also when you are supposed to be doing some kind of focused work and you're doing smaller, less important tasks that are still in a way productive, but not the lever moving tasks that you're supposed to be doing for the day. You're doing smaller ones. So for me, for example, if I was succumbing to resistance, what I should be doing is I should be recording a video like I'm doing right now. A smaller, less important task I could be doing is like replying to YouTube comments. And of course, I love replying to the comments, but what's more important, me putting out the video to help more people or me replying to every single comment? So for you, if you're maybe studying, should you just be studying and taking notes, or should you be, writing, making the page look pretty and like writing, making different colors for every single subject? Is that really productive? Or are you avoiding the important thing that you're supposed to be doing? Those are the things you do when you are succumbing to resistance. He explains that essentially the stronger you feel resistance towards something, the stronger the sign that you should be doing it. So whatever task that you're putting off right now, maybe you're putting it off by watching this video, that's the thing that you definitely should be doing. Like when I said procrastination at the start, what did you think of? Whatever it is that you thought of when I said that, that's what you're supposed to be doing right now or after this video. If you're trying to get your grades up because you want to get into Harvard, for example, you're going to feel a lot of resistance, you know? But the reason why you're feeling that is because you should probably be going towards it. It's probably something that's going to be beneficial for you. You can't let resistance win because it's not going to back down at all. He calls it literally a battle to the death. And I really think it is. If you let resistance win, you're going to become unhappy. I was unhappy when I was putting off starting this YouTube channel for literally months and months and months, even years, you know. And once I just decided to start, you know, if you go to that first video of mine, you see how nervous I was. Once I just started, I was able to just get the ball rolling, but it was just that first step of just putting the video out there. That's the hardest part. You're going to feel inside of yourself that you are meant for more. And that's really going to be your calling to, you know, overcome this resistance and kind of just follow your passion. I'm going to explain to you how you can overcome resistance. Resistance is the opposition to flow. Resistance is the opposition to flow. What do you think of when I say flow? You think of probably the flow state or like the focus state. This is actually the term used to describe the property that slows down the flow of electrons in a circuit, known as resistance, which is a crucial component in the current, but it also applies to work. So you could think of the work that needs to be done as the current and the resistance as the obstacle that needs to be overcome. So if your voltage is too weak, which is the electrons, and this is resistance, you won't be able to do the work because you're being overpowered by resistance. So when you increase the voltage, it will increase the current, and increasing the resistance will decrease the current, causing you to procrastinate further. Maybe to put it in like English, you could think of it as like a water hose. If you step on the hose when the water is going through, it's gonna pinch it, and there's gonna be resistance there keeping the water from flowing. The water is gonna flow a lot slower. But if you let go of it, or you turn up the pressure of the water that's going through, then it's going to shoot through faster. So what I'm trying to say is that in order to decrease resistance, it's crucial to eliminate all possible distractions. Start by identifying what is disrupting your work and distracting you, and then take steps or actions to remove it. For most people, common distractions come in the form of instant gratification activities, such as scrolling through social media or watching TV, like I was saying earlier. So if you find that your phone is a constant source of distraction, then maybe you need to remove it from the area or just hide it. One thing that helps me stay away from my phone and not let it distract me is that in the morning, I put my phone underneath the covers while I'm working at my desk, and I just completely forget that it's there. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's these little things that you can do that, you know, when they compound, it'll make your focus a lot stronger. If you feel like you're spending too much time on social media apps instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing, then try deleting the apps for a while. And I just released like a full guide on how to end your phone addiction, and I have some pretty good tips to help with this, so you should definitely check that out. And if you struggle to stay focused when you're alone, consider changing your environment. And what I mean by struggle to stay focused when you're alone is that I know some of you guys, what you do when you're alone in your room, you know what I'm talking about. You're not gonna do that if you go to the library or a coffee shop, you know? So try to go there and work. Even just the action of you going to the library is gonna put you into more of a work mode, just because you know you're supposed to be there to work, as opposed to being in your room when there's all these distractions and it's like a place of relaxation. This is why I also recommend not working in your bed, because it's going to make it very easy for you to just get real comfortable and then just want to lie down. That's why I like to make my bed for the day in the morning, and then I just don't touch it for the rest of the day. Remember, the key is to eliminate all distractions and focus on the task at hand. So unplug the TV, hide the remote, and just do whatever it takes to help you stay on track and progress. So how are we going to increase that voltage? Now that we've reduced resistance, we still need to strengthen our ability to put in that hard work. So in this analogy, discipline represents voltage, and discipline is simply just the art of showing up. In his book, Pressfield compares the difference between a professional and an amateur to illustrate discipline. So what's the difference between an amateur and a professional? So an amateur is somebody who acts on inspiration and is driven by their mood. So this is a person that's going to rely on motivation to get what they need done. This is why I don't recommend that you rely on motivation. They're not committed in their goals, are focused on having fun, making money, or gaining status. So usually shallow, superficial goals. I remember before, when I wanted to go to the gym like years ago and I wasn't consistent, it was probably because I was going for a shallow, superficial reason, like just getting buff. I didn't really have a real intrinsic goal that I was going towards. Professionals, on the other hand, prioritize their work and they're committed to succeeding. So they're determined to follow their inner drive, and their goals are focused on their passion. Professionals are disciplined. They do the hard work even when they don't feel like doing it. And no, that's not a Hamza reference. Don't. No. So the only way to really overcome procrastination is to become a professional in whatever you're doing. So a professional takes pride in their work. They show up daily and they work through adversity. They are open to criticism and they understand that fear is a natural part of the work. This is very important. You cannot give in to fear. And I talked about this a little bit in my How to Start Going to the Gym video. As a form of resistance is fear. We are scared of doing something, so we're just not going to do it. That's terrible, because once you give into that, you're just gonna live with that identity that you're afraid of something. It's okay to be afraid of something, but you still have to work through it anyways. There's nothing that's worth anything that's going to come easy. Professionals are aware that they face resistance every day, but they just work through it. So they just overcome that fear because there's nothing else to do. So if you approach your work with the mindset of a professional, you're going to be much better suited to handle resistance. And then once you've started that activity, you've already done the hardest part. Now you're doing the work. You ever hear people say that they didn't want to go to the gym, and then after they went to the gym, they were super happy and in a good mood for the rest of the day? That's them overcoming the resistance. You're going to get that positive feedback loop from overcoming the resistance and doing the hard work. And then that's when the motivation kicks in to do it again. And motivation is good, but we're not going to rely on it. But the reason you get motivated after you do that hard work is because you're aligning yourself with your passion or your purpose. And after that work is done, you're going to feel proud of yourself. And even if the work doesn't come out the way you wanted it to, say something does go bad, or you get critiqued, or you completely fail, like just anything, at least you put in the work and you were disciplined enough to do it. You leveled up your discipline because you did something that you didn't feel like doing. And that's really important that you make that realization, because you need to have the mental clarity required to become more disciplined. And you need to understand how discipline works. It's not necessarily just a motivation thing. In fact, it's the opposite of motivation. It's doing it when you really don't feel like it. God, I hate when I say that, because then I keep on thinking I'm like copying Hamza. But it really is true. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. That's what discipline is. And a professional is disciplined. Right, so now to summarize, since I talk way too long. So resistance is the root cause of our procrastination, and it's what prevents us from turning our ideas into reality and makes us avoid doing important tasks. It takes different forms such as procrastination, perfectionism, and instant gratification. Overcoming resistance requires eliminating those distractions and becoming more disciplined. So by approaching our work with a professional mindset and aligning with our purpose or passions, we can handle resistance and become more disciplined. Thank you to everyone who's in the Discord. It's great talking to like-minded individuals who are also on self-improvement. If you aren't in the Discord already, it'll be the first link in the description. And by joining, you'll also be signing up to my self-improvement newsletter that I'm working on right now. It's going to be called the Saturday Self-Improver. I'll be sharing lessons I learn along with just tips and ideas relating to self-improvement every Saturday, sent straight to your inbox. If you want to be part of that, but you don't want to be part of the Discord, then there'll also be a separate link in the description also for my current newsletter, and I'll add you in when it's ready. Also, if you are interested in one-to-one coaching where I can help you with self-improvement, specifically the topics on my channel, you can also find that below. So thank you for watching, and let me know if there's anything else that you want to see me talk about specifically. And I think that's it. So see ya.